You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Our Reasonable Faith, a podcast focused on questions of Christian life and devotion. Today, we are turning to one of the most profound testimonies of God's grace, the life of Augustine. He had a life of searching after purpose. And so today, we're going to see how first Augustine began his early life trying to find satisfaction through something here on earth. Then, we will look at his conversion and how his faith changed his search for purpose. And finally, we will discuss how Augustine's testimony can be a guide for us as we look for meaning and satisfaction in our lives. Patricius served as an administrator in the Roman town of Tagaste in North Africa. He was a man of the empire driven by ambition for wealth and status, and he adhered to all the hallmarks of Roman life, worshiping the ancestral gods and studying philosophy. Through an arranged marriage, Patricius took a young woman named Monica as his wife. Monica was a devout Christian who had been raised in the church from her early childhood. She prayed constantly for her husband, even though he was often unfaithful and quick-tempered towards her. For Monica, life centered on eternity and her Christian faith. For Patricius, life revolved around immediate worldly achievements. And amidst these tensions, their son Augustine was born. Their hopes for him could not have been more different. Monica prayed continuously for Augustine, wishing he would come to know her God. Patricius envisioned a prestigious life for his son. Training him in philosophy and rhetoric, he aspired for Augustine to become a great leader in the empire. As Augustine grew, so did his ambitions. He excelled in rhetoric, which provided him the chance to study in Carthage at the age of 18. Augustine hoped that his education would help him secure a position in the high imperial court. In Carthage, Augustine sought many of the temptations of city life. He had an illicit relationship with a woman outside of marriage, with whom he later had a son. He also rejected his mother's Christian faith and joined the Manichaean sect, a pagan dualistic religion. Eventually, Augustine's talent was recognized and he was offered a position in Milan as the public rhetor of the city. Suddenly, all the vanity I'd hoped in I saw as worthless, and with an incredible intensity of desire, I longed after immortal wisdom. In Milan, Augustine began to soften towards Christianity through the ministry and preaching of the city's bishop, Ambrose. Ambrose was a powerful orator who lived a godly life, and his example proved to be one of the most significant influences on Augustine, leading him to reconsider the Christian faith. Finally, one day, while sitting in a garden, Augustine reached a turning point as a young boy passed by chanting repeatedly, "Take up and read, take up and read." Augustine felt compelled to pick up the Bible and read it. He describes this experience in his Confessions. "So holding back my torrent of tears, I got up, interpreting it to be none other than a command from God to open the book and read the first chapter I came to. I seized the Bible and opened it, and in silence read the section on which my eyes first fell.
Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. But put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lusts thereof."
No further would I read, nor did I need to, for instantly at the end of this sentence, by a light, as it were, of serenity infused into my heart, all the darkness of doubt vanished away. At this moment, Augustine's search for purpose came to an end. Augustine left his prestigious career in rhetoric right away and chose to be baptized and devote his life to serving God. Later, Augustine returned to Hippo and became the bishop of the city. There he spent the remainder of his life serving the church and defending the faith through his writings. The life of Augustine is a sure testimony of God's grace. Yet even more so, it also demonstrates how we can find purpose and meaning in our lives. Early on, Augustine sought purpose in academic success, status, drunkenness, and lust, all of which never satisfied him. No matter how much he excelled or how much he indulged, they were just never enough. In his own words, I sought pleasure, sublimity, and truth, not in God, but in his creatures, in myself and other men. And so I fell headlong into sorrows, confusions, and errors. What Augustine is showing here is man's natural disposition to put his self at the center of his life. Everything must bow to the needs of the self. It is natural for us to believe that man's chief end is to glorify and enjoy himself. So we go about trying to determine our own meaning, whether that be in success or experience or whatever. We believe we are responsible for creating value in our lives. If I can finish this project or get that promotion at work or have one more drink or better express my authentic self, then at that moment I'll be satisfied. However, Augustine's life demonstrates how this pursuit is hollow. No ordinary goal can provide ultimate comfort in life and death. Every worldly pleasure, professional accomplishment, and ambition left him unsatisfied and restless. He bounced around his whole life between academic accomplishments, new philosophies and religions, prostitutes and concubines, drunkenness, and living the high life. Yet he says that he never felt like he reached the end, or even progressed really at all. It was not until that fateful day in the garden where he first surrendered to Jesus. He could never find purpose by looking inward to himself or outward to what the world could offer him, but only and truly could he find rest by looking upward. Augustine's story is relatable to many of us today. We live in a world that teaches us to define our own purpose, and we are weary and heavy laden with the task of finding satisfaction in our careers, relationships, and achievements. But true rest and satisfaction is not found in the pursuit of self, but in coming to Christ. So these words of Augustine must be taken to heart in our busy lives. You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you.